I think everybody knows who you are. Yonathan is the CEO of Suku, and I think that was something that came up recently, where there was news that you were going to be no longer operating as the CEO of Infinite World, so that you could be focused more on Suku. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, first of all, thank you for the guys listening in. I'm sure this is going to be recorded so we can show it to the entire community. So this is,
yes.
I mean, we said we were going to do it often. We didn't do it in the last couple of months. So I'm glad that we are back on track. It's important for us to listen, to go through questions. I slightly read the questions, so let's just try to do it randomly. And if we have time, we can let anyone on the call ask any questions.
Awesome.
So we started Suku 4.5 years ago, and then we launched Infinite World, which is part of the Suku ecosystem, 1.5 years ago. So I was the CEO of both companies, and so Suku was this the ecosystem for transparency and authenticity using blockchain for brands, mostly in the physical world. And now we found a way to move those brands into the virtual world. And that's Infinite World. Like, the Infinite World really creates infrastructure for those brands to get into the metaverse and create tools to push the life cycle of those products into a different reality, which now we call it metaverse. So, but I was the CEO of both companies, so dealing with everything from the company creation to focus on product, to focus on technology, everything. And so to me, it was important that we separated both, that we have different goals, and that we, as Suku, we focus on the one thing that I'm mostly passionate about, which is creating value in a decentralized way. Like, I joined this space back in 2012 being obsessed with the concept of decentralization. Being able to push the value from centralized organizations to users, to smaller participants. And that's still what really motivates me every day. And then there was the decision: should I stay as the CEO of Suku, or should I stay as the CEO of Infinite World? And for me, that passion and the community that we built at Suku, and the goal that we always had is what's gonna drive this, and truly excited to solely focus all the energy and effort into pushing Suku into the next level. We brought Brad Allen, an incredible executive, to lead Infinite World. And so, I think there's a couple questions on how both will work together, but that's mostly it. I mean, super happy that we are now truly entirely focused on Suku. Myself personally, I mean, the team was still working on everything, but very excited about this expanded vision that we created to both support Infinite World, but really adjust and adapt to the new needs in the market that certainly evolved from 4 years when we started developing the supply chain transparency ecosystem.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly happy you made the choice to come full-time to Suku, because if anyone's seen what you've accomplished with Infinite World and with everything else, we're very lucky to have you.
I was full-time. The problem is I was full-time twice.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So usually you have 8 hours to sleep. I mean, I don't know how much slept in the last 6 months, but yeah.
Oh my God, I bet. Yeah, I guess I can ask. I had a couple questions that I thought would help the community in general. I think you already touched on that, but maybe you could just give a little bit more. So one common topic that I think could use some clarity is the relationship between Suku and Infinite World. As Infinite World was born from Suku and has now evolved into its own organization, can you shine some light on what that relationship or partnership looks like moving forward?
Yeah. So from an entity perspective, Infinite World is a sub of the entity where Suku was created, and that's changing now with Infinite World, hopefully going into the public markets. The relationship is like we created Infinite World, like it started as an app, like maybe some of you play with the app, which was an app that allows you to assign ownership and transfer ownership of physical assets through the scanning of a tag. So we started with this pair of sneakers, and you have like a tag on the shoes. I might have the shoes with me. I don't see them. But it was this concept of we were tracing already products. So we were tracing a shoe from its raw materials to its a finished good. But then we say we want to expand the life of that asset. Now we want to be able to assign ownership. What if LeBron James is wearing those shoes, and now you can actually prove that LeBron James was the owner. So now we start playing with this concept of ownership, which is really, I think, the key driver of Web3, how we actually transformed and created a concept of ownership for digital assets. And so we started playing with that app where you can transfer the ownership, you can report the item as lost or stolen, and you did a lot of other stuff. So now you have this digital asset that represents the physical one. And then we saw clients and brands asking for more. And that's how Infinite World was born. Basically creating tools to help those brands get into that virtual world. Now, Infinite World is focusing on enterprises and brands. And that's something that we've been doing at Suku before that, but now solely focused on the metaverse. Now at Suku, we are going to be focusing on the users, how we connect users, how we connect communities that will end up using Infinite World infrastructure, the infrastructure that is being sold to different companies. And so the way it works right now, if you think about logistics, Suku is going to be the last mile. How do we convert a user to use a system? And Infinite World is the one that talks to the brand to be able to push the system into the brand. Because we have a decentralized nature, we can create mechanics to bring those users, to really focus on getting a user to use a Web3 tool, right? And so we're going to be we're going to be complementing each other very well, and super excited about focusing Infinite World on brands and Suku on users to drive adoption and push the technology that we've been creating so far.
Amazing. Yeah. And you just touched on that pretty much already. I think you basically covered it. But the other thing that if we can give more on is, can you share more details with us on Suku's next horizon, or what we like to refer to as Suku 2.0, and what our path forward might look like?
Yeah. I mean, the vision, I think, didn't change. I think we expanded because the market changed, the needs changed. And so we wanted to adjust how we go to market, how we offer our solutions to these new needs. And so if you think about Suku, the previous Suku was solely focused on enterprise and being able to go through traceability solutions. What we found is that when you try to connect with those enterprises, and if you look at how the model work, where you incentivize, where you asked the clients to ask to be able to host a node, they weren't interested yet, right? We weren't there yet. They didn't want to host a node to be part of the network. The majority of those didn't, and that's the explanation why we started migrating to Hedera, because they were able to do it. Now, we saw this huge opportunity to go from the physical world into the digital world and being able to serve those users and bring those users. So now Suku really, we call it like the fuel for Web3, and focuses on three main things. Again, the vision, the goal didn't change. It's building better solutions, easy to use solutions to bring users into Web3. And we focus now on powering. So we call powering is we create this concept of X to earn. So you're going to see a lot of different mechanics that Infinite World is building, from watch to earn, to play to earn, to work to earn, to travel to earn. There's a lot of things that require and need a mechanism to earn and drive mechanics to bring a user to use a system. So that first concept is Suku is going to be used as a way to power this community, power these systems for Infinite World and for other partners that we have in the pipeline. Number two is being able to connect communities. If you look at the Web3 space, the NFT space, we see that there's still a lot of opportunities to connect these collections, these communities. We think about Web3 as everything interconnected, but they're not really connected yet. Every single collection has its own community. So how do we bring them all together under the same economics, under the same incentives, under a interoperable system? And we see Suku as the way to become that system, to become that token that can connect all these communities. And again, I need to be very careful with what I say around the token. As you know, the regulatory constraints on what we say and what we promise. I'll try to avoid anything that talks about the future, because we can't say anything about what's going to happen in the future if we don't have it implemented already. So I think there's a couple of questions that will ask me about the future, and I can talk about the future. And a lot of times we are asked, like, why you don't talk a lot about what you are going to do, right? We just talk about what we did and then we share it. And that's why sometimes it takes more time. So we don't announce things that are not yet concrete. So that's the number two. And the communities aspect is that every collection now wants to launch their own token. And that's really, if they're disconnected, that's gonna disconnect them all even more. And so we're trying to come up with this approach to connect all these communities together through Suku. We announced a few already last week, and we're gonna keep expanding. Those communities are gonna come on board, are gonna start using our systems, our tools. And then being able to adopt, which is the third part of what we're gonna do at Suku. So we're gonna keep building solutions that will make it easier for users to understand what's Web3 and start using the platforms. Really focus on the users. Infinite World is gonna be focused on doing some of that for brands, right? But we are gonna be focused on the users, and there's a couple tools that we're going to be announcing. Again, I can say anything that hasn't been complete yet, but really excited about pushing that through technology to move Web3 systems into Web3.
Great. So with each one of these questions, you half answer the next question in line, but I think maybe we'll touch on it anyhow, and you can say what you could say or what you've already said, or whatever. This is the first of community questions from Griffin, and he says, many do not understand the role of the Suku token in the ecosystem. The team always answers, it's at the center of everything, or look at the white paper. But could you explain in a summarized and clear way for those of us who understand little about technology? For example, how does this agreement with McLaren affect the token? I think we can already say, So
again, I'll need to be careful again with what I say, because I don't want to say something that is not yet implemented. But again, if you think about those three main pillars, powering the X to earn model, where you create dynamics to earn, incentivizing someone through an action, and then through the ecosystem to buy assets or to be able to interact with the ecosystem is one. We have several opportunities. I need to be careful again, that we are going to be announcing potentially now, very soon, that you're going to see in action that first pillar, the X to earn model and how the token is being used. The second one is the connecting the communities, right? One token for these communities to be used inside ecosystems. Again, we have a couple of those that we're going to be showing in action how those are being used. The first one that we launched on the Power to Earn, it was Coin Hunt World. If you didn't play it, I think we have someone from the Coin Hunt World team here on the call, where you play the game and you try to find these treasuries and you find Suku tokens, right? So that's a way of enabling a X to earn model where you are incentivized to do certain actions to find Suku tokens. And then the adoption. So through these tools, if you think about TextMe NFTs, for example, a tool that was developed by Infinite World, part of the Suku ecosystem, then the idea is how do we integrate the token into it? And it's something that we are working, that we're going to be announcing, that we're going to showing you in action, to use the token to drive adoption, to be able to compensate people for, to reward people to be able to use and create these mechanics to increase user adoption and the use of the technology that will help bring the next, building users into the space that they don't even know what's Web3, they don't even know how to interact with NFTs. We are working on an updated document that you're going to see from the previous utility models that we have, how we expanded that. Again, we can only release it when every single utility is in action, is in production and working, right? So give us some time, be patient with that. It's not that we are not doing it, it's just that we need to release it when it's done, implemented on a real technology or on a real platform. So that's the goal.
Yeah. Only because you mentioned it and I didn't have it in here, but I've been dying to share a little bit about it with people. Could you say a little bit more about TextMe NFT? I think a lot of people don't even know what this is or that it exists, or maybe even what the photo booth was at Consensus, because I had a lot of questions about that, and I think it's extremely exciting.
Yeah, so we spend a lot of time, both at Infinite and Suku, thinking on how do we simplify all this noise on using NFTs, on sending, receiving, minting, buying NFTs. I mean, if you need to buy an NFT today, you need to go through first a Discord channel. The Discord channel will take you to a website. The website will take you to an account creation. Then you need to set up your wallet, and then the wallet, you need to put funds in it. And maybe if stars align, maybe you can buy your NFT, right? So you lose a lot of people through that process. And so we spend a lot of time on how do we simplify this into one action. So we created this MVP that we call it TextMe NFTs that we're gonna be releasing in a couple of weeks. We're doing a test run next week at NFT NYC, and the idea is that it's the easiest way, in my opinion, today to buy an NFT. So you receive a message either from a brand or from an influencer saying, hey, congrats, you receive an NFT, pay $10 now to buy your NFT. And now we have Stripe integration, so you can click on it on the SMS, right? SMS or WhatsApp, you click on it, now you buy the NFT, and now the NFT is in your wallet. So we have an entire write-up that we shared a couple of years ago on TextMe Crypto, which is the start of how we create this technology. And then that might be the easiest way to buy an NFT today. You don't need to create any account. There's a real wallet being created for you, associated with your phone number on your text. You don't need to do anything. Everything happens in the background. You control the keys, right, as well. And then the idea then is, if that's the easiest way to buy, then now you can actually have the easiest way to mint an NFT. So you take a picture and in one text, you can actually mint an NFT, and the NFT is on OpenSea. So we're going to be showing up all that. This is just a teaser. But super excited. The experience is incredible, and it really, every person that tried it really is impressed by how easy it is to convert all these that seems too complex into one text to create, send, receive, or mint an NFT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I'm aware of any system that's easier than that. So now I'll jump to Michael, and his first question is: what are Suku's future marketing priorities?
Oh, one second. One second, Tom.
Sorry. Yep.
There was the last part of the question was how McLaren affects the price of the token. Like McLaren, again, Infinite World as a client, like McLaren is a client of Infinite World. They create systems for them to bring them into the metaverse. So whether we then involve or get involved with our clients to include Suku into the mechanics to drive people to get into the system or provide rewards, that's a different topic. And if we do, we're gonna be able to share that. But that's just a client using platforms. Our goal is to be able to include decentralized tools that we created into potentially every system, but that takes time, right? In order for someone, I'm not talking about McLaren now, I'm talking about in general. If you try to convince a huge client to now start using a Web3 tool and then start using a mechanism to drive adoption, in this case, it might be a cryptocurrency or it might be a system of points or whatever that is, it takes time. Like the impact and the risk mitigation is huge. So they need to be comfortable with the fact that they're using a new system, like a Web3, they're using smart contracts, they're using things that they're not used to. And then you push to be able to enhance that experience with other tools. So the first goal is to be able to close the client, to bring and show them the value, and then being able to bring the other tools that will help them with the adoption of the systems that they're using with Infinite World or other systems that they might use with Zoom.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad you touched back into that one because we get a lot of questions about that. Okay, so now here's Michael's first. What are Suku's future marketing priorities and target demographics of partners with the company's goal changes?
Yeah, again, coming back to the vision, our focus is on users and communities. So all marketing activities will be focused on either bringing someone that has some X to earn mechanics, right? Where we can market our solutions to power that. Two is to be able to market to NFT communities and Web3 communities to bring them all together, or really focused on users that are looking to use better tools to onboard into the ecosystem. So our focus is going to be around those. There's a strong focus on in Asia. I think where we've been limited so far, we are mostly all US still, and I think it's important for us to start bringing those tools there. I mean, it's different rules, different market. They're expecting different experiences. There's translation. There's a lot to do there. But I think expanding into Asia, it's going to be another goal that we have for this year.
Awesome. So second one from Michael, similar I think, but what is Suku's 5 and 10-year goals now with its new Web3 hosting platform being the focus? I'm not sure if that's necessarily the proper description for it, but how do you build the foundation to reach these goals now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we built a great foundation. We built incredible technology so far. I mean, we've been building this for 4.5 years. I can't say 5 to 10 years because I cannot talk about the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I see ourselves as the driver to bring easier solutions to move systems from Web 2 to Web 3 and being able to create a better community that everything interconnects, powering the systems that they use. So I think if I could ask someone in 5 years what do they want to think about us, it would be like, these guys build easier solutions. Like it's not BS. Like they're really looking to the space into simplifying UX and really pushing the message directly for someone to use this. Like we're still thinking as a crypto bubble. Like we build systems for crypto people, so we can all trade assets between one another, and we never think about the one that actually doesn't understand anything about crypto or NFTs. Like it's okay, we can live in this bubble forever from a product perspective, but our goal is to push the boundaries and focus on pushing the same tools that we have today into people that don't understand and how and they want to be part of it, right? So the goal is to become that place where people feel comfortable using crypto through us.
Excellent. So here's one from Charles now, which again, I think you've already touched on, but why is interoperability so important for Web3?
I mean, if you think about the metaverse, I mean, again, the concept it's an old concept, but Mark Zuckerberg came up with, okay, now we're going to call the company Meta, and we call this the metaverse, but it might be virtual worlds or whatever you want to call it. But to me, there's no metaverse if it's not an open metaverse, right? So you could have a metaverse which is a closed system. I'm not sure if it's the goal of Facebook or not, but the only metaverse, this new reality, this new world that our kids are going to be part of in the next few years only works if it's open. And the way that you make it open is through Web3. You make it open by connecting through crypto and blockchain rails. And if it's not interoperable, then it's another Apple and being a closed system. So by definition, to me, metaverse is an open metaverse, and it's interoperable by nature. If not, what are we talking about? Like we're creating another centralized organization that will fit in and you just can play with the assets internally and not outside. So interoperability is key, but basic. It's the basic feature that you need to have if we're really gonna build the future of the web.
Excellent. So now, okay, there's one more from Charles, and again, I think this is another one. Not going to be able to say much, but when will we be able to stake our Suku tokens?
It's something that we've been working on. It's something that definitely we've been working on with a couple of parties, and hopefully we can close something soon. I know it's something that the community really wants, and so we are talking with a couple to see if we can make it happen.
Excellent. That sounds good to me. Okay, and now we're moving on to Michael Corleone, which sounds like the son of the Godfather.
Oh, there's a Godfather and Michael. Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
We have the family.
Please explain how the tokenomics shall work. Why has the original plan changed?
Yeah, I think we covered that early on when we went through the three main pillars. The original plan didn't change. We just expanded the vision, knowing obviously that around the supply chain, the initial concept was on using clients as the nodes. What we found out is clients don't want to be nodes, and that obviously changed the dynamics on how you interact with the system and how you reward different users to be part of the system. So we now expanded the vision into become the fuel of Web3, taking everything that we have today. The tokenomics, like the pie doesn't change. You still have the trading partners, you still have the technology partners to drive adoption of the technology for people to build on top and for users to use the system. We are now expanding into different initiatives to fulfill that goal of powering, connecting, and adopting better Web3 tools.
Excellent. And then one last one from him. Looking back 5 years, how is Suku different than what you expected? How is it the same? What has worked and what has failed?
Wow, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the focus on enterprise, right? Enterprise only through supply chain now changed a bit, and now Infinite is the one focusing on enterprise for us to be focused on users. So that's one, I wouldn't say significant change, but that's a good change, and being able to look at our capabilities and the tools that we had to be able to create value for the ecosystem participants. Fail, I mean, we've been working on this for a while. We went through the bear market in 2018, super tough times for everyone, and we still focus on building and building. Like, I think that's what I love about the team. Like, a lot of us stayed together through those difficult times, and we kept building. There's one thing that nobody will be able to say is that we stopped building, and we're builders. I'm an engineer. The core team are engineers, and we love building stuff that will make an impact. And I don't see failure. I think we were able to face a lot of challenges through the market, and very, very passionate about what we do and the people that we work with every day. So really inspired by everything that happened in the space, and super excited about what's to come.
Excellent. So that was the last of the pre-recorded questions. I think that's a wrap. This has been incredible. I enjoyed it. If anybody who participated now wants merch, just comment merch in the channel, and I will make it happen. It's not going to be. It's going to take me a little while, but just say merch, and I will make sure you get a T-shirt, something.
Merch.
All
right, guys. Thank you, Tom.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
everyone.